has important information for the millions of people with asthma. You know that asthma symptoms can really slow you down. What you may not know is that there are two main causes of asthma symptoms: airway constriction you feel, and inflammation you may not feel. If your medicine is only treating one, it can make asthma feel like an uphill battle. You can find information and resources about asthma and learn how to help prevent asthma symptoms at asthma.com.
Sports talk lives here. Powered by Pepsi. WGS Excellent Haven, Panama City. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
There's no need to fear.
The Underdogs are here. The Afternoon Underdogs are on the air.
What time is it?
Live from the Slim Chicken Studio. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
What's going on, Northwest Florida? This is 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. You're riding with the Afternoon Underdogs. Welcome into the Slim Chicken Studio. I'm David Hayes, joined with Old School. Old School, how's it going today?
Outstanding.
All right, that is some good stuff. Remember, you guys can always call or text right here, 850-215-6290. Give us your takes and opinions. We're going to be playing some trivia today, brought to you by Merchant Management Group, the only local credit processing company in our area. Call them. They could eliminate your fees, 850-774-0664. The winner from our trivia is going to get a $25 digital gift card to their choice of one of the following restaurants: Maddie's La Casita, Off the Hook Bar and Grill, Paparazzi Gourmet Deli and Pizza, Simply Seafood, and Trigo's San Francisco style deli. The trivia question for today is a good one, with the Red Sox winning the wild card game on their way to take on their foe in the AL East, the Tampa Bay Rays. What a series that is going to be. The trivia question pertaining with that is going to be, who's the most recent switch hitter to win an American League batting title? The most recent switch hitter to win an American League batting title. 850-215-6290 is the number to call. Old School, talking about that Red Sox, that Yankees game last night. Not the fireworks that we really expected to see. But if you're a baseball fan and you don't like the Yankees, you were excited to see Garrett Cole get chased off the mound within 2 innings last night. What did you take away from that game?
I loved it. I mean, I'm not a Yankees fan, and I'm really not a Red Sox fan, but with Boston Tim as my buddy, I was really pulling for Boston, and it was just fun to see, them get after him. $32 million or whatever it is, and they lit him up. The long ball was in play, and what a great relay. It's fun.
What a relay, yes.
When you see teams play baseball fundamentally, and that was a big play. I don't know that was really the difference maker, but it sure gave Boston a ton of momentum, throwing Judge out at home. I don't have a problem with them sending him. There's an old saying in baseball, make them throw him out.
Right.
Well,
and especially the way that ball caromed off the wall. The play had to be absolutely perfect, and Xander Bogaerts was absolutely perfect on that play.
Yeah, it was just really fun to see him execute, a relay throw like that. And it was a fun game. And after that, the Yankees just never really could get anything going again.
You're absolutely right, man. It was. Nathan Eovaldi did such a good job last night. The over-under on his strikeouts, what we have it at 5.5. He ended up getting 8 strikeouts last night. Pitched a great game. The Yankees' key to the game, if you will, last night was trying to get into that Red Sox bullpen early, and they failed at that, and that was a big reason why the Red Sox came away with that win.
Well, the interesting part was they really paid attention and called attention to his delivery. Eovaldi's delivery, and he had 3 different deliveries. He had the quick pitch, he had the medium, he had the slow, and it was just really interesting. I had never really seen them identify 3 different releases, 3 different types of delivery for the pitcher, but it was obviously effective. He was very good, and it's exciting to see the Red Sox take down their arch rival, and now. Tampa Bay has they got their hands full.
They do have their hands full. One more thing, just what a game last night that was. And we're going to have a big one tonight as well with the Cardinals and with the Dodgers. That's going to be a fun one. What do you think the key for the Cardinals is tonight to take down the Dodgers?
I think the key to this for the Dodgers or for the Cardinals is to get out early and score early, and keep their confidence level up. Wainwright he's a stud. He's experienced. He knows how to handle the situation. But if the Cardinals can get an early lead, and I think they can put some pressure on. With Muncy hurt, all the pressure is mounting on the Dodgers. I mean, with that payroll, with all the hype that they've had all the year, they're the defending champions of the World Series. The pressure is going to mount on the Dodgers. The Cardinals can just ride the momentum and play loose, play fun. And if they get a couple of good key hits and get the runners on base, I think the Cardinals can give them a good test.
You're listening to the Afternoon Underdogs on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. You can follow us on Facebook. We're on YouTube. We're on Twitch now, all at ESPN Northwest Florida.
Twitch.
Also on blabtv.com in the Pensacola area. If you're watching over there, we appreciate you. And yes, old school Twitch. And it's not when we're moving like this.
I was going to say, if somebody commented about me on camera, twitching or my hair twitching
or the lack of twitching back and forth, No, it's just another one of those new streaming opportunities. A lot of people stream their video games on there. And so I figured, hey, why not take a chance on Twitch? So that's what we're doing. Let's get to a phone call here. Make sure that you like and share the feeds and send them out to your friends and family. We've got Jackson State Jeff on the line. Jackson State Jeff, what's going on, buddy?
Man, I gotta believe. Hello?
Hello? I hear you.
We got you.
Yeah, man, I'm calling in, man, because, of course, I want to answer the trivia. Always tied into my St. Louis Cardinals hopefully beating the Dodgers tonight.
Well, I hope so.
What do you think Wainwright's going to do? Do you think he'll have a big game as we're kind of used to seeing Adam Wainwright have in the playoffs?
Man, he's going to give us at least six good innings. 6 good innings. That's what he's made for. He's made for postseason play. The Cardinals are made for postseason play.
Well, he's got to keep the Dodgers in the ballpark. That they can erupt. The long ball can come from just about anywhere in the lineup, except for maybe number 9. But if Wainwright can do what he does, which is move the ball around, have control of where his fastball is located, he's going to be dangerous. He always is. When you look at certain pitchers, you talk about Scherzer, all these other guys. Wainwright is right there with him as far as being a big game pitcher.
Okay.
Let's win you some stuff, Jackson State Jeff. You ready to play some trivia?
Ready to play, man.
Who's the most recent switch hitter to win an American League batting title?
Man, the only person I can remember has got to be my boy, Willie McGee.
That is not the answer that we're looking for. Jackson State Jeff, it was so good to talk to you. I love that new Geico commercial with Deion Sanders and Nick Saban where Deion leans over to Nick Saban's like, where can I get a jacket like that? I have a feeling that in the future commercials, we're going to see Deion and Nick in some matching jackets, and it's almost like a play on that press conference where the media reporter did not call Coach Deion Coach Deion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but the big game is going on this weekend in Huntsville. We're playing Alabama A&M, and Coach Maynard is already threw a jab on the press conference this Monday. Of course, Deion had toe surgery, so he's riding around on the sideline with a hyped-up three-wheeler they made for him. So Maynard apparently twisted his ankle getting off the bus down in Grambling last week. So at the press conference, he asked Deion if he had an extra scooter he can send down to him. So,
I'm sure Deion could arrange that for him without any problem.
War words have already started.
Oh, man, that's some good stuff. Hey, Jackson State Jeff, thank you so much for the call, and thanks for listening.
Appreciate it, guys. Keep it going.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And another thing, Jackson State Jeff, if you're still listening, beat the underdogs. We're about to go ahead and make our picks for that, and we're taking 3 callers a day. We as a crew are going to decide who we want to win the game, and then we'll pick against the prop bets as well. And we're going to start off with the National League wildcard game tonight. Waiting on a call here, 850-215-6290. Cardinals and the Dodgers. We've got as Old School put it earlier, Rainwhite, actually Wainwright versus Scherzer tonight. Old School, who are you liking in this game tonight? I know that we had the magic happen last night with the Red Sox taking down the Yankees. Can we see it strike twice and the Cardinals take down the Dodgers in L.A.?
I mean, the Cardinals have been on a tear. What is it, 17 in a row? Why not? I mean, this is why, any baseball team can beat any other baseball team any given night. So why not? I think it's I think it's a game where the Cardinals could easily win if they play well.
All right. You say easily win?
Yeah.
That's a caveat right there. I'm not a big fan of easy right there. We'll hold off on our pick and argue a little bit more on that first. Let's get to the caller. Caller, you're on the air and you want to answer the trivia question. Who do you got? Who's the most recent switch hitter to win an American League batting title?
Oh, man, I thought it was National League. I'm sorry. I was going with Chipper Jones.
You're right. He's in the National League, but we're looking for the American League. Thank you so much for the call.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, 850-215-6290. Still playing Beat the Underdogs, and we still got the trivia question for your chance to win one gift card of $25 to one of the 5 restaurants: Maddie's, La Casita, Off the Hook Bar and Grill, Paparazzi Gourmet Deli and Pizza, Simply Seafood, and Trigo's San Francisco style deli. Great stuff down there. For me, Old School, it's really hard to say that the Cardinals are going to beat them easily. I do agree with the sentiment that they are extremely hot and possibly the hottest team in baseball right now. But the Dodgers are really good. However, I said the same exact thing last night, not necessarily about the heat of the Red Sox, but the Yankees had a qualified roster to do a lot better than what they did last night. And I think at this point in the season, essentially a game 163, if you will, it's a wild card game, but only one of one. The hottest team is usually going to win this game. So I'll go out on the limb with you that the Cardinals will take down the Dodgers tonight. We can agree on that. That way it'll give the listener.
I don't think it's that far out on the limb. I really don't. I mean, the Dodgers have experienced some late season injuries.
Max Muncy should be able to go tonight.
Should be able to go tonight, but he's not going to be 100%. Anytime you get a wrist injury, an arm injury this late in the season, we've seen it before with players where, they don't come back the same as they were. And I really think that when the Cardinals get it rolling, they've got a lineup that can score a ton of runs. They've got a great pitching staff of big-time pitchers. And, this is why you have a wild card game. It's whoever tonight goes out there, whoever throws the bean the best, has a great chance of getting the victory. And I think it's going to be the Cardinals.
All right. Well, we'll see how that works out. The other thing that the prop bets, Nolan Arenado, over or under 1.5 total bases tonight. And a walk does not count as a total base. Has to be a base hit. So we're looking for a double, a single, or 2 singles, something like that. What do you got?
So 1.5 total bases. He's a guy that is known for hitting the ball in the alleys. So 1.5. I mean, he's probably going to get 4 at bats. That's still a stretch. I would say under. That would be my selection. Just because I'm not sure that if he could get 5 at bats or 6, it's possible. But with only 4, that's going to be so 1.5. I guess he could get a double, but I think I'll stay with the under.
Well, let's talk to the winner. We'll go with the under, and Scherzer on the mound. All right, we'll go with the under. Let's get to our winner from Beat the Underdogs yesterday. He's going to try to go back-to-back on us. We're talking about Travis here, who last night he had Boston to win. He had the score at 4-3, 7 total points. Boston ended up winning that game 6-2, which is only 8 total runs. He had the over on Evaldi with his strikeouts. We had the under there at 4.5 Ks. Evaldi went for 8 Ks last night. And then the other one was Garrett Cole, 4.5 hits allowed. He only went 2 innings, and he gave up 4 hits. So we were actually both wrong. We both went over, but he was under. Travis, what's going on, buddy, and what do you got for today, man? Big win yesterday. You won 25 to Rudy's and 25 to That Boot Store.
Man, it's a great day. There's not to mention the prizes, but the Evil Empire is out of the playoffs. Who could not be happy today?
I'm right there with you. I agree with everything. What do you got tonight out of the Dodgers and the Cardinals?
Man, I think the Dodgers put a stop to the Cardinals' hot streak.
I like that pick. Me and Old School went with the Cardinals, but that was a tough pick for me. Now, next, we've got Arenado over under 1.5 total bases tonight. We've got the under.
Over.
All right.
I'm going over.
Max Scherzer over under 7.5 strikeouts.
I think it's going to be under. I think he's only going to put up 6 this time.
I like that, man. You must be a betting man. Let's get to the last one, which is going to be the Cardinals and the Dodgers score.
I think it's going to be 7-4 Dodgers.
7-4. All right, hey, Travis, we're out of time for this segment. Go ahead and shoot me a text, though, buddy.
Will do, man. Y'all have a great day.
Thank you so much. Travis trying to go back-to-back on Beat the Underdog. Still got room for 2 more callers here, 850-215-6290. Tiger Talk, normally on Wednesdays. We're going to have it Thursdays. The tip-off from Toomer's Corner. That's going to be a big show. You can hear Brad Law on Tiger Talk this Thursday at 6 o'clock right after the Afternoon Underdogs. Coming up, Golf Plus's owner, Alan Watson joins us in the Slim Chicken studio.
Easy for you to say.
I know, right? Got a whole bunch of tongue twisters going on, and they're not really tongue twisters. I'm just twisting myself over here. He's going to be joining us here in the Slim Chicken studio. Can't wait for it. We're talking all things golf. He's got some equipment to show us, and Bryson DeChambeau, Brooks Koepka, the match, November 26th. Lots of things to talk about. Keep it tuned in right here to the Afternoon Underdogs, 104.3 ESPN, Northwest Florida.
Weather forecast overnight, flash flood watch remains in effect. More rain and thunderstorm activity roaming around, causing some flooding. 70 to 75 for the low, southeast wind 5 to 10. Stalled out weather front will give us more showers and thunderstorms Thursday and Friday, partly to mostly cloudy. I think we'll see a little bit more sunshine on Friday, and the high temperature Thursday and Friday in the low 80s or so. We'll keep you updated. For 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida, I'm meteorologist Tim Root.
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida is your chance to win cold hard cash.
Hi, this is Ernie Mello from Lynn Haven, Florida. I just won $1,000.
2 ways to win this national contest. Listen weekdays at 8:45, 12:45, and 4:45 for a new code word. You hear it. Enter the code word at ESPNPC.com or use the new ESPN Northwest Florida app to play the Grand Slam of Cash.
A day in my life I'll never forget.
Golf Plus is your premier golf shop on the Gulf Coast. Not a big box or a chain store, but a local store with golf experts to serve you. An amazing array of demo and fitting products, plus a professional repair shop that can handle anything from a basic re-grip to a full set of re-shafts and everything in between. Golf Plus has locations in Dothan and Panama City Beach to serve you. Come see them today for all your golf needs. Located next to Firefly at the shops at Edgewater. Call 850-249-2726.
Are you thinking about buying or selling real estate in the Panama City area? Think Real Estate is your team of local experts who simply love living and working in Bay County and helping others make their dreams come true through the exchange of homes and properties. We strive to provide excellent customer service in residential, commercial, and investment sales, as well as property management by combining classic customer service with crazy fresh marketing. Visit our website, whenyouthink.com.
Are you ready for the best pizza in Bay County? It's Paparazzi Gourmet Deli with over 100 years of recipes passed down through 4 generations. Paparazzi Gourmet specializes in New York and authentic Italian-American specialties from the deli, prepared foods, and of course, pizza. They even cater for all occasions. Click paparazzigourmetdeli.com to check out their daily specials. Come taste the difference at Paparazzi Gourmet Deli, Thomas Drive next to Goodwill on Panama City Beach. Call 850-588-8244 for fast pickup and DoorDash.
They said it couldn't be done. The Afternoon Underdogs are live in the Slim Chicken studio.
They say it can't be done.
Are we going to do what they say can't be done?
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Welcome back. You're riding with the Afternoon Underdogs right here, 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. Right after the show tonight, you're going to be hearing Greeny at 6 o'clock. Great stuff going on there, and great stuff going on right here in the studio. We've got Alan Watson in with us, the owner of Golf Plus. Alan, how's it going this afternoon?
It's great, David. Good to be here with you in Old School again, and I even brought a friend with me. So,
how's it going? This is Casey, everybody.
Yeah.
Casey Cooper, a real baseball name, as Alan put it, headed into this this segment right here. What's going on with you? How are you doing today?
It's going good, buddy. How about yourself?
Hey, I know that you're glad that the Yankees lost as well last night. Aren't we all, if you're a baseball fan? Everything happened perfectly last night. Let's hope that the Cardinals can take care of the Dodgers tonight. We'll see about that. Alan, you brought some new equipment in today. Let's talk about that.
yeah, I just brought in a couple of new things, literally just fresh out of the box today. The new Callaway Jaws full toe wedge. So this is a continuation of the PM grind series that had been going on for the last several years. PM, of course, stood for Phil Mickelson. That was his wedge. These are designed by Roger Cleveland with his input, and this has a higher toe design than a traditional wedge. The grooves go all the way out to the edge, which is not normal in an iron or a wedge. And then because of the higher toe design, you actually have more room to miss up high, which is what tends to happen in thicker rough in particular. People tend to kind of catch it high in the face, and especially out towards the toe. The club ends up torquing out. You end up leaving the ball short and to the right. So with the additional material, and then they've done some other things too. They've got what they call groove-in-groove technology, which you'd never be able to see without getting right up close to it. But anyway, really cool for adding spin. They've got a new toe pad to create some weight up high to control the center of gravity, lower the spin because wedges create enough spin kind of on their own for the most part. So anyway, really great new wedge. Excited I've actually had several customers that have been just waiting for these, kind of getting excited because they liked the old PM grinds. So I play the Jaws series myself in the original versions, and I really like them, and I'm excited about this edition. So these go 54 all the way to 64 lofts. Anyway, very nice new wedge there. And then I also brought this new Cleveland Launcher XL Halo, and so it looks like a hybrid because it is, but it's actually a full set. I just didn't bring the whole set because I didn't think there'd be any reason to do that. So full set of hybrid irons, so you get all the benefits of hybrids, the forgiveness, the bigger sole, easier to cut through the turf, easier to get the ball up in the air. So for folks that maybe have more moderate club head speeds, and that could be anybody, but anybody that's just not swinging super hard, these are going to be great. And again, it actually runs, the hybrids get a little smaller as they go through the set, of course, but if you already like your long iron replacement hybrids and you've thought to yourself that maybe your current irons aren't getting the ball up in the air enough or not giving you enough distance, it's a great option, great alternative. We had a gentleman in earlier this morning that we were fitting for a driver, and he kind of wanted to hit some hybrids too, and we let him hit the 3 hybrid in this. He was hitting it perfect. I think he ran out of swings at the end, Casey, didn't he? Casey looked at me at one point and goes, I think this guy's getting tired. But the performance was amazing. You know what I mean? So just great stuff. So lots of new stuff coming into Golf Plus. A lot of times people think this time of year that golf's sort of over because the FedEx Cup's over and the weather starts to change and some people are out hunting or doing other things. But this is the best golf weather of the year, and there's still plenty going on. So a lot of golf still this time of year, right, Old School?
No doubt about that. One of the things that is always fun in the fall is, new products start coming out. There's just an excitement after the Ryder Cup. PGA Tour is now a year-long thing. It used to be, the fall was kind of the silly season.
That's right.
But it's not now. Now there's tournaments already where people are able to qualify to go to the Masters. They're earning Tour Championship type points. So it's, my favorite time of the year to play golf is the fall.
Yeah.
So this is a great time. And, I'm excited about what we see this fall. I'm really excited about this craziness that's going to happen on Thanksgiving weekend.
Yeah, November 26th, day after Thanksgiving in Las Vegas. They're going to have this 12-hole, which is kind of a unique format, 12-hole match play event. Bryson versus Koepka, exactly what the whole golf world has kind of been clamoring for. This rivalry, if you want to call it that, has now spilled over into a pay-per-view television event, which is, again, exactly what it should be. I think the format's a little weird with 12 holes, but I think it's fine because, again, we were talking about this earlier, 18 holes with only 2 people on the golf course can be a long day. The commentators run out of stuff to say. There's really not that much to fill in the gaps. So 12 holes, I think it'll also create some urgency. If somebody gets down a little early, they won't have as many holes to make up in the match. And I think it's just going to be great to see 2 really great champion golfers, major winners, playing golf at a time of the year when, you're not getting as much golf. And, I don't know that we'll settle this once and for all, so to speak, but it's kind of cool. And, with Bryson coming out of the long drive competition, which he took 7th place, that's pretty amazing. As far as I know, it's never been done to have someone who plays full-time on a major tour to then go do long drive, and I know vice versa. It hasn't ever been done. So kind of cool. He says he's going to keep going, and so that'll add some excitement, knowing that he's training for that. And who knows, maybe somebody else on tour will decide to try to do that.
Is there anybody on the tour that could really compete I mean, like you just got done saying, it's never really happened before.
Nobody else that hits at 400 yards. No, I mean, these guys, when they really catch a downhill runner with some wind, it might go 340 to 360. Even Rory's caught some like 370 before, but those were special circumstances. Those were not on a flat track, like the way long drive is set up where it's on a grid and all that. Those weren't like that. So these guys are under very benign conditions, hitting at 400 plus yards. Nobody on tour can do that except Bryson.
And it's been interesting that a number of guys, particularly after Bryson won the U.S. Open, he opened the eyes of a lot of tour players, including Rory and other people who were amazed by the speed that he was able to create. And so they began to train similarly and try to get similar speed, but they didn't handle it as well. In fact, Rory said that it kind of jacked him up a little bit because he had changed things. And so there's a fine balance, and that's what really makes Bryson unique in the fact that he can hit it, as we saw in the Ryder Cup, over 400 yards downwind, but then turn around and finesse a lob wedge in there, to 3 feet from 67 yards. I mean, that is what really makes him unique. Right. Yeah, you can hit it a ton, but he also has the short game that goes with it. So
right, and that's why that's why people always say, well, if these long drive guys hit it so far, why don't they go try to compete on tour? Because they would have a huge advantage. Well, that's exactly the reason. They would have a huge advantage in only one category. 12 to 14 times during the round, they would have an advantage, and that's not enough because most of your shots are played from 150 yards in, and that's where the real pros are going to have an advantage. That's where Koepka and Rory and Jordan Spieth, who's amazing with a wedge, is going to have an advantage. So Kyle Berkshire can hit it as far as he wants, but if he doesn't have, and he is actually a pretty good golfer in his own right, but it's not going to translate over to the chipping and putting side, and that's really where those tournaments are going to be won. I don't think there are very many long drive guys out there that can consistently shoot in the 60s, maybe not even in the 70s. You know what I mean? And you're going to have to be able to break par every time to win on tour and break it from way back and so on and so forth. So,
are the clubs that they use in the long drive competitions legal on the tour?
Well, if they change the rule about the length, because they're talking about possibly changing the length rule, if they do that, then they won't be. But right now they are. I think they're using 48-inch drivers, which is max. But at one time they were using 50s, and that was not legal on the tour. Then they've cut it down to 48. And they also measure the clubs differently than they do on tour in terms of how they hold it straight up and down versus sitting it in playing position like they do on tour. So it's measured differently. So, but even still, I mean, a guy that can hit it that far, you could still make him use a legal club, and it would still work and go a long way.
So, Casey, you're new to Golf Plus,
yes,
relatively new, I guess.
Yep.
Then you're going to be a fitter, or are you going to be managing the store? What's going to be your role so that when people come into the store, they know?
Well, eventually I'm going to be a fitter. I mean, it's just a lot of parts and stuff to learn. It's just I've been there for 3 days now, and it's just there's a lot. You wouldn't think it, but there is a lot to go into fitting.
Oh, there's
a whole lot. I mean, and just watching Alan, he's quick about it. I mean,
I've seen videos.
He's pretty quick.
It's a magician.
It's amazing how he can sit there and watch somebody swing 3 or 4 times and says, "Hey, I know exactly where to go."
Well, I can tell by your accent you're from the South, and I know, I know you're from Georgia, Moultrie,
yes, sir,
Georgia.
Moultrie, Georgia. Yeah,
and you're a Georgia Bulldog. It's so great to have a Bulldog fan in the studio.
Alan's got it right.
We had to come back around to college football, didn't we?
Alan's got it right. He knows where it's at. Roll Tide.
He's a bandwagon rider. Don't let him lie to you.
No, I don't. But we got Bulldogs got a big game against Auburn this weekend. What's your prediction?
I don't think it'll be close. Bo Nix ain't gonna be able to run around like he has. Just Georgia's defense is just too fast, too quick. I mean, the boys are just. It's phenomenal what they're doing right now. I haven't seen it in a while. Probably the last one was a couple years ago. Alabama had something like that.
It's a defense that is it's impressive,
stout, scary
from the line to the defensive backs.
And eventually we're gonna get all our parts back on the offense. And when that happens, it's gonna be ugly.
It's going to be ugly for the other people.
One more question pertaining to the match here coming up with Koepka and DeChambeau. Do either one of these guys benefit from playing at Wynn Golf Club? Or is the course not really a factor in this particular matchup?
I haven't had time to look at this course to see what it is. I would say with the air being thinner out there, DeChambeau is going to have a little bit of an advantage in terms of distance if he chooses to try to grip it and rip it. If he plays within himself and does what he normally does, and then Koepka's actually a pretty decent long hitter too. It's going to come down, just like we said a minute ago with all the pros, it's going to come down to who hits it close and then who can handle that pressure and make the putts. These guys are both major winners. I don't think pressure is going to be anything. And just like all these matches, they're getting paid no matter what, so they probably don't care. But at the same time, this thing's been brewing for at least a year now. I think, deep down, the competitor in them, they're going to want to win. Even if there was no money on the line, they're going to want to win, right?
Oh, absolutely. If it's a practice round and they're out there, they're going to win. They're going to want to win, and it's I'm looking forward to it. I really am. I think this will be a chance for Koepka to kind of come out of his shell. Because when he plays golf, he's very inward. Bryson is more outgoing to the crowd and plays the crowd. Koepka is kind of more like Tiger in the fact that he's very focused.
Which is kind of their opposite characteristics, I guess, if you will, when they're not playing golf.
Yeah, that's the interesting part is, Bryson's kind of known as the scientist and he's into the science and whatever, but yet he loves the crowd. He loves to play to the crowd. Koepka, on the other hand, off the course is kind of a wild and crazy guy, an adventure hunter, seeker type guy. But yet when he's on the golf course, he really is able to hone in and be focused and very singularly motivated.
Yeah, should be interesting.
I cannot wait for it. And another thing I can't wait for is the weather is getting perfect to play some golf. So it's time to get those clubs fitted. Where do they need to go, Mr. Watson?
Come see us at Golf Plus. We are at the shops at Edgewater next to Firefly Restaurant. We're on the beach, conveniently located right there on R. Jackson and Front Beach Road. Come see us.
Hey, coming up, we're going to be doing pretenders and contenders of the NFL. Alan, Casey, thank you guys so much for stopping in today.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, man.
ESPN Northwest Florida. War Eagle.
Touchdown, Auburn!
The oldest rivalry in the Deep South returns to Jordan-Hare Stadium.
Dick stayed alive long enough for the score to Tyler Brown. He's in! Touchdown, Auburn!
Saturday kickoff at 2:30 Central on your home for the Auburn Sports Network.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Fansville, a college football utopia.
Fansville.
Where the lakes are stocked with ice-cold Dr. Pepper. Where the night sky is tinted with the amber glow of burning couches.
Majestic.
Where rivalries run deep and bandwagoning is a third-degree felony. It's a land flowing with nacho cheese and spicy mustard, where every dispute is settled by coin toss.
Tails never fails.
Every backside is calloused from years of bleacher sitting.
Buns of steel.
And every fan, regardless of race, creed, or alma mater, deserves the rich flavor of Dr. Pepper.
Delicious.
These are loyal folk who stay true to their coach through thick and thin.
Mostly thick.
Who lift their Dr. Peppers high and proudly proclaim, "This is our year," even though it probably isn't.
But maybe it is.
Return to glory this season with Fansville by Dr. Pepper.
No
one fans deserve.
Grab some today.
Hi, this is Coach James Hale, here to tell you about the best car wash on the beach. Blue Sky Express Car Wash. Number one, they're locally owned. You know Matt and his employees will do a great job. Number two, Blue Sky Car Wash recycles their water. Number three, they have the latest technology available. It does an incredible job on your vehicle. Blue Sky Express Car Wash on Back Beach Road is right near Home Depot. Tell them Coach Hale sent you.
You're fierce. You take care of business and don't hold back. Taking care of your health shouldn't be any different. You know when something's off. Don't ignore symptoms like fatigue, joint pain, and rashes. Listen to your body. It could be lupus. We're here to help you take control. Learn how at BeFierceTakeControl.org. Brought to you by the Lupus Foundation of America and the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention.
Tyndall Air Force Base to the Hathaway Bridge. We are live and local. It's the Afternoon Underdogs, live from the Slim Chicken Studio. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Welcome back to the Afternoon Underdog Show. You're listening to 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. We're still taking calls to play Beat the Underdogs. We've got Travis who's trying to go back-to-back against the Underdogs, and I'm still looking for an answer to my trivia question today, and that can win you some great stuff from Merchant Management Group. Give them a call. They can help you consolidate your credit fees. They got some great stuff going on. 850-774-0664. You can get a $25 gift card to one of the following restaurants: Maddie's La Casita, Off the Hook Bar and Grill, Paparazzi Gourmet Deli and Pizza, Simply Seafood, and Trigo's. Good stuff there. The trivia question is, who is the most recent switch hitter to win the American League batting title? Last switch hitter to do it. Who was it? Call in. Give me the answer. 850-215-6290. And always, first off, get the app. ESPN Northwest Florida app. Google Play Store, Apple Store, either way. But here's why you need it. You need to listen to win cash. 8:45, 12:45, 4:45 in the afternoon. Take that code word that you'll hear. Go to the website or to the ESPN Northwest Florida app. The website's ESPNPC.com. Enter the code word there for your chance to win $1,000 in cash. Now, old school, let's get into it. Pretenders or contenders? Let's start off with the Cowboys. Are the Cowboys pretenders or contenders, in your opinion, old school?
Forecasted to be a pretender, but has now turned into a real live contender.
I like it. I've got the Cowboys down as a contender right here. And same way. At the beginning of the season, I'm thinking probably a pretender because we don't know how the lat or the oblique is doing for Dak Prescott. How's he going to look coming off the ankle? Is Zeke going to be back? Is the offensive line going to be atrocious or ferocious? So many questions surrounding the Dallas Cowboys, it was really hard to put your finger on it. Now that we've seen them come out, play against the Buccaneers, be in a really tight game with them, and then win the rest of your games moving forward, I absolutely have the Cowboys as contenders at this point in time. Let us know what you think. 850-215-6290. Text it in and get on Facebook and show us your comment there. Let's go to the Raiders. Are the Raiders contenders or pretenders, old school?
Well, I thought that they were contenders. But then we watched that game the other night, and I'm just confused by the Raiders this year. They seem to not be able to get off to a good start. They've been behind by 2 touchdowns 3 different times now during the season. They were able to pull out 2 of those, but they just can't keep digging a hole for themselves. And so at this point, I have to say they are a pretender. Nice uniforms, beautiful stadium. It's big-time fan base, still a pretender.
We've got William on the line who's got a question pertaining to the Cowboys. William, what's your question?
Yeah, I just wanted to know about the going for the Cowboys in passing about the teams of the shirts.
All right. Hey, thank you for the call, William. The Cowboys have very nice shirts. They're very classic jerseys, and they've got a good guy that can pass it in Dak Prescott. There's no doubt about it. So you've got the Raiders as pretenders right now. Are we looking at each other's sheets right now? It's tough for me to really put them in the pretender category after the start that they've got, but you know, the Chargers are a really good football team too, and they're on this list as well for today. But at this point in the season, with the health of the running back room, I'm loving what I'm seeing from Carr. Even in the loss, even with the interception, I still think that Carr is one of those years where we're seeing, oh yeah, I see why Gruden liked him so much. But without the running backs, the style of offense that the Raiders have, it isn't conducive. You know, you got Waller, you got Ruggs, you got Edwards over there, and those guys are some really good wide receivers, but you got to create balance in the National Football League. And I don't think that at this point in time and moving forward that the Raiders are going to have that running back room. And that really hurts for me as a guy who's invested into Josh Jacobs for this year in certain fantasy football leagues. So I'm right there with you, old school. The Raiders are pretenders. Let's go to the Chargers while we're here in the AFC West. Are the Chargers contenders or pretenders, old school?
I think anytime you've got a quarterback that is growing and becoming a superstar, I think they are contenders. I'm still concerned about their defense. I'm very concerned about their defensive backfield. That's a weakness there. You know, they got a good pass rush. They've got some speedy linebackers, but in the back end, the safeties and cornerbacks, they struggled a little bit. Carr lit them up in the third quarter pretty good. So I'm going to say contender, but not 100%.
With a little Salt Bay of pretender, just sprinkle it around there. All right, I like that. I've got them as contenders at this point in time. Even though as the season goes along and the Chiefs get better, it's really going to be hard to have them in that tier of contender or on that side of contender. I disagree a little bit to an extent when we're talking about the defensive backs with Derwin James over there, Asante Samuel Jr.
Asante Samuel gets beat deep.
Yeah.
I mean, that's his weakness and I know he's an aggressive back.
Right.
And he always tries to read the route and try to get a jump on it, but that leads to him getting able to get beat deep.
I agree. It does have the tendency for him to be able for him to get beat deep. But, you know, when it's Henry Ruggs beating you deep, that's a tough guy to cover. You got to jam him at the line.
Right.
But for right now, I've got the Chargers in contender mode.
Absolutely.
I think the way that Herbert's playing, the way that Keenan Allen is playing this year, Austin Eckler, they're getting what they want from him from both sides, receiving and for running the ball. So they're looking strong, but the problem is the Chiefs are going to turn it on at one point, and you would rather them have it turned on at the beginning of the year rather than really turn it on at the end of the year. They don't have a choice to turn it on at any other point than later on in the year now with the way that they've started the season. So that does not look good for the Chargers. Let's go to the Broncos. They had they went 3-0, ended up losing last week to the Ravens, put them at 3-1. Their wins are against the Jets, the Giants, and the Jaguars. Jets, Giants, and Jaguars. They did something that the Titans and the Saints couldn't do last week, which was beat the Jets and the Giants. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Tired of thinking about it, so hopefully the Titans can get me a win this week against Jacksonville. If they lose to Jacksonville, we've got a problem. That's neither here nor there. I've got the Broncos down as pretenders. Another team out of that AFC West, it's hard for them to not only have they not shown a lot in those wins against the Giants, the Jets, and the Jaguars, and then kind of fell very short in their game against the Ravens, but moving forward, it does not look good for the Broncos. What do you have the Broncos as, contenders or pretenders?
I have pretenders with a capital P. I think that they've been, you know, people got excited about the first 3 wins, you know, Teddy Bridgewater as their quarterback. You know, they're supposed to have a really good defense. Haven't really seen a lot of that yet. So I put them pretenders with a capital P.
We haven't got to the news of the Panthers today. We'll be getting to that in the second hour of the show, landing Stephon Gilmore today after the Patriots released him and then made a trade with him. Way to go. Bill Belichick is always on top of his game. But do you have the Panthers right now as contenders, or are they pretenders?
They are pretenders. I think that they are. I like their coach. I think he is a builder. I just think it's early on. They still have some more pieces to put together. They're certainly making moves that they make them better, but I still they don't have the depth to be really considered a true contender.
They're a contender. I know that they're in the NFC South, but you got to be kidding me, old school. Looking at
Sam Darnold.
Sam Darnold, and look at what he's done to this point in the year. He even lost.
Who have they played, Dave? Tell me somebody that has a defense that they've played.
The Saints have somewhat of a defense. They did lose to the Giants.
They lost to the Giants. They lost to Danny Dimes and the Giants.
Every dog has his day. We're talking about the NFL. I'm still going to sit here and say they're going to get McCaffrey. And if they had McCaffrey in that game against the Cowboys, which was a lot closer than what maybe some people were expecting, they might have came away with that win. But that's neither here nor there. In my opinion, right now, the Panthers are going to be contenders as the season goes on. As they get some of these pieces back, they are going to be contenders. I hear you saying whatever you want, especially about Sam Darnold, but I'm on that high horse.
Do you really believe that two teams are going to come out of the NFC South?
Well, we're talking about 7 teams coming out of each conference. So, yeah, I think that 2 teams could come out of the NFC South. It just depends on how many teams really end up coming out of the NFC West. But I think that they've got the ability to be a playoff team. So I've got the Panthers as contenders right now, old school.
Hang on. I'm not done yet.
All right. I'm going to let you keep going, but not for long. I got to turn your mic down.
So are the Saints better than the Panthers?
The Panthers already beat them once this year. I would say that overall, especially with McCaffrey, the Panthers, and then we're not going to see Stephon Gilmore until after week 7, but in week 7 against the Giants. But when they get him and then give him 2 or 3 weeks, if they've got a winning record at that point, yeah, watch out. And we're already seeing the Buccaneers secondary get depleted. So if they don't make some moves and fix that up, it could be trouble in the NFC South this year.
All right, because we're going to come back to that when we get down towards the end of the year, because you're going to see the Panthers are in 3rd place and they can't get their way out.
All right, we'll see about that. Or we could be looking at the Panthers being atop the NFC South. Then how are you going to feel, old school?
You're dreaming.
Hey, sometimes that's what dreams are made of. You're listening to 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida, and we've got some big games coming this way this weekend, man. Starting off with Friday, instead of the Afternoon Underdogs, you're going to be getting the Braves at Brewers. 2:20 is when the pregame starts. 3:37 first pitch. We'll be right back, and it's time to defend your stance.
Weather forecast overnight, flash flood watch remains in effect. More rain and thunderstorm activity roaming around, causing some flooding. 70 to 75 for the low, southeast wind 5 to 10. Stalled out weather front will give us more showers and thunderstorms Thursday and Friday, partly to mostly cloudy. I think we'll see a little bit more sunshine on Friday, and the high temperature Thursday and Friday in the low 80s or so. We'll keep you updated. For 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida, I'm meteorologist Tim Roots.
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. Right now is your chance to win in the Grand Slam of Cash. Your code word is
success.
Enter the code word at ESPNPC.com or play on the ESPN Northwest Florida app. 2 ways to play this national contest.
$1,000 in cash. Oh, man.
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Have you been to Gin Gin Super King Buffet? It's not your average Gin Gin. Well, here's what you're missing. Gin Gin Super King Buffet has competitive pricing, a great selection, extensive buffet options perfect for family dining. Menu options also include top quality seafood, hibachi and sushi bar, or select their mouth-watering crab legs by order. Bring the family out to Gin Gin Super King Buffet, located next to Wonderworks at 9802 Front Beach Road on Panama City Beach.
I am a non-attorney spokesperson representing a team of lawyers who've helped people that have been injured or wronged. If you've had a revision or removal surgery of a hernia mesh implant after 2008, pay close attention to this message. Hernia mesh manufacturers have recalled some of the mesh material that may have been used in your surgery due to high failure rate. The FDA has even blamed the recalled mesh material for some of the worst of the health issues reported by doctors and patients. If you've had 2 or more hernia surgeries for the same issue and you're having severe complications, call the legal helpline now. You could receive a free cash award and have your medical expenses covered. And there's no upfront cost to you. They only get paid if you win. So please call now.
800-446-0057. 800-446-0057. 800-446-0057. That's 800-446-0057.
We are live and local. From Camp Helen State Park to the historic Martin Theater.
Definitely time to let our hair down and have some fun.
It's the Afternoon Underdogs. Live from the Slim Chicken Studio. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Welcome back to the Afternoon Underdog. Still looking for a winner for trivia to get you some great prizes from Merchant Management Group. They've got 5 restaurants that they're willing to let you choose from to get a $25 digital gift certificate. Gets to you pretty much instantly.
You must have got up on the wrong side of the bed today.
Why do you say that?
Because that's a tough trivia question that you put together.
I was just looking for something baseball-wise.
That's tough.
That's the whole goal is
That's
to get
hard, man.
Yeah, and we still don't have anybody. Guys, use Google at this point. If we go 50 minutes without a trivia winner, all you got to do is type it into Google. I'm sure that you'll come up with it pretty quickly and find a way to win yourself a $25 gift card to one of 5 restaurants
That's the cool part
that are
about
local.
You get to pick. You got 5 different restaurants to pick from, and they're all good. Every one of those restaurants is top shelf.
Well, we've got the ESPN Northwest Florida app, and you need to go get that Google Play Store, Apple Store, either way. Get your hands on that, sign up for it, and then we also have trivia in there, and you will never miss a moment of great coverage of sports. And we've got a big weekend. I'm talking NFL all day Sunday for you, Saturday a couple of college football games, Auburn and Georgia, Utah, USC. We'll be getting to all of those. Old school, this is Defend Your Stand, sponsored by Emerald Coast Damsel, independent damsel pro for damsel in defense. I pity the fool who doesn't use our tool. Tell me, Old School, will Urban last the full season?
Absolutely not. I mean, I didn't think he was going to last the whole season before the season even started. When they hired him, I thought, why are they doing this? This guy's got a reputation for, he comes in, he's all, fire and vinegar, and he's all, with this and that. He's a great evaluator of talent, but then he just doesn't have the intestinal fortitude anymore to stand in there and take questions. I don't know if it's his ego. I don't know what it is. It's maybe, when you've been at the success levels that he's been at, I mean, it would take almost Jesus to turn around the Jaguars in one season. I mean, you're talking about a miracle worker, and I'm sorry, he's not a miracle worker. And now, with the personal issue that he's got now with his behavior, I'm not sure that he can save his locker room. They're already laughing at him. At this point, I'm not sure he makes it through the season. I would say chances are very slim that he's going to make it through the whole season. I just think that at some point, the owner's going to get fed up with it. He's going to realize that he's lost the locker room, and they're going to say, wait a minute, this is not what we signed up for when we hired him. They're going to let him go on down the road.
Yeah, it's going to be so interesting to see how this plays out. Real quick, before we get to a caller for trivia, I had something that I wanted to get into yesterday about this, and we never really had the time. Urban Meyer, this is from Michael Silver on Twitter. A little thread here about what's going on with the Jacksonville Jaguars, especially the team and how they're perceiving this situation. The Urban Meyer situation in Jacksonville has reached a crisis point, especially in the locker room. One player told me he has zero credibility in that stadium. He had very little to begin with. He also goes on to say players were particularly put off the fact that Meyer canceled Monday's team meeting as he dealt with the uproar over the videos of him and a young woman getting cozy in that Ohio bar. He even canceled the team meeting. He was too scared, a player said. Instead, Meyer only apologized to position groups individually, which I think he's came out and apologized to the full team.
Today.
One player, today that happened. One player said that we looked at him like WTF, right? When he left, everyone started dying laughing, and he knew. Let's get to Richard, play a little trivia. The trivia question, Mr. Richard, is who is the most recent switch hitter to win an American League batting title?
The one I'm going to go with is Eddie Murray, but I'm not a great baseball trivia person.
That is not the answer that we're looking for, but thank you so much for playing the game with us. And would you like to play Beat the Underdogs?
I'm not sure what that is.
All right. So how we play Beat the Underdogs on this show is we've got a couple of games. We've got one game. Oh, did we lose you? He is gone. All right. So we're not going to be playing Beat the Underdogs. We're going to get back to Defend Your Stance. So the other question that we've got, what are we thinking about the Panthers after landing Gilmore? Does that really shore up their defense? What do you think, Old School, since they're pretenders?
No.
Yeah, all right. Give us a call, 850-205-6290. Still looking for an answer for the most recent switch hitter to win an American League batting title. Yes, the Panthers did shore up their defense.
They helped their defense.
They helped their defense. I think they shored it up. I mean, guy is, if it wasn't for the lack of restructuring the contract that the Patriots were willing to do, he would still be there. But I think that the Patriots spent so mumuch money in free agency and are trying to find fresh blood for their organization. You know what I mean? Not keep the things of the past and kind of move on. But they were going to release him. The Panthers end up sending the 6th round pick over. I think that they've gotten better. But they lost J.C. Horn. They bring in C.J. I don't know how that's going to work out for them. So maybe bringing Gilmore, it definitely makes their defense better. And especially when he knows Tom Brady, man. So maybe that could help in a game. The Panthers are playing the Bucs twice this year. So we'll see how that plays out. Who's going to be the X factor for the wild card game tonight? Old School, while we're give me a call. We're still waiting on a call. 850-215-6290 for trivia. Beat the Underdogs. How we do that, Old School? We put a game up, which tonight is the National League wild card. Then we throw 2 prop bets in. We pick the games. You pick the games. If you have a better score at the end of the night than us, then you win $25 to a restaurant, which is today, Rudy's. And also $25 to not the, but that boot store.
And it matters not whether you beat another contestant.
Yeah.
The whole point is you just got to beat us.
Right.
We're not saying that's easy to do. It's been done a couple of times already. But all you got to do, so we could literally have, if you open it up for 3 callers, we could have 3 different winners, right? That's the potential. 3 different people could walk out of this competition.
No, one.
Only one?
Only one. And the reason why, well, the reason why is because we've got a tiebreaker in there, which is the score. But if you want to give away multiple prizes one day and we get to we come back in the next day and find, 2 contestants tied, Old School, you're allowed to make executive decisions because you're an executive. Now let's get to the X factor for the wild card game tonight. In your opinion, Old School, who's that going to be? Who's the X factor for the game tonight?
It's the 2 starting pitchers. I think that let me say this right, it's hard to say for me. And that's the 2 starting pitchers are going to be the key. I think both teams have a good bullpen. I think both teams have a good offense. The momentum that the Cardinals are carrying, they believe right now. They don't think anybody can beat them right now. And I think that they have a very good chance. If they were throwing a guy out there that would, he was a second-year pitcher. You're talking about a guy that has pitched in the World Series. He's been in multiple playoff games. He's very comfortable in that type of high-stress environment. And I think it's the key is controlling the bump, as we saw last night. It doesn't matter what the size of the contract is. It doesn't matter the size. It's a matter about the heart. And it's a guy that's comfortable in that environment. And Cole Hamels last night, The Yankee pitcher last night was not comfortable, and he gave it up. And in this case, I think the Cardinals have a really strong pitching staff. That's always been what they've been built around. They've got, an experienced catcher. It's just a really solid ball club. And, after what they've done in the playoffs, I'm not going to go against them. I don't care if they are playing the Dodgers.
All right, I'll get to my X Factor here in a moment, but let's get to Bill, who wants to play some trivia. Who's the most recent switch hitter to win an American League batting title?
I'm thinking Bill Mueller, Boston Red Sox.
In 2003, he hit for 326. You're absolutely right, Bill. Hey, have you ever been to the station to pick up a prize before?
No, I haven't.
Do me a favor, send a text over to the same number that you called, 215-6290, and I will take care of you. Thank you so much for the call, and you are the winner.
All right, I appreciate y'all now.
Yes, sir. We appreciate you listening, as we do everybody who's listening. We still got 2 more spots left for Beat the Underdogs. Don't let Travis go back-to-back on us. If you want $25 to Rudy's Barbecue, if you've driven out on Back Beach and you've seen that big yellow and red sign and realized that's not McDonald's, but it's something I want to go try, well, call in, Beat the Underdogs, and you can get $25 to Rudy's Barbecue and $25 to not the, but that boot store. Old school, my X Factor for tonight is going to be Trey Turner. He's 5-14 in his career against Adam Wainwright. I think that he's got to have 2 hits tonight. He needs to go at bare minimum 2 for 4 tonight to really infuse that offense against who your X Factor is one of the pitchers, but you went with Adam Wainwright. Blue Sky Car Wash, a great place to go. Also out there on Back Beach. If you want your car looking fresh and clean like it just came off the lot, you need to go see Blue Sky Express Car Wash.
The new app from 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida is designed specifically for sports fanatics like you. The sports content you demand is always on. Live stream our national and local sports talk anywhere you go. Reach us on all social media. You can also be a part of the show. Call and text into our studios. Plus, up-to-the-minute weather and traffic maps. The new app from 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida is available at the Apple Store and Google Play.
We know that juicy, cheesy, grilled to perfection burger sounds amazing, but it does sound like something is missing. Pepsi, baby. The yin to this burger's yang. Burgers and Pepsi go together like burgers and Pepsi. This perfect blending of flavors makes every bite of lettuce, every sesame seed on the bun, and every sip of that crisp, refreshing, ice-cold cola a journey to Foodtopia. Burgers, better with Pepsi. That's what I like.
Is that the sound of an ooey gooey, cheesy, crunchy slice of P-I-Z-Z-A? Obviously. But as good as that sounds, we think it can get even better. Oh yeah, that's the sound of a freshly opened fizz-filled Pepsi. The only thing that can take this flavor medley of crunchy dough, mouth-watering cheese, and savory sauce to the next level. How about another bite? Pepsi and pizza sound like a match made in heaven and taste even better. Pizza, better with Pepsi. That's what I like.
You wake up late, rush through your shower, run out to the car, and the garage door won't open. Oh! Don't let this be you. Get your garage door service today. At All About Garage Doors, we offer 24/7 service at no extra charge. Call us today for our single torsion spring replacement for $199 or our double torsion spring replacement for $299, both with a 2-year parts and labor warranty. Call All About Garage Doors, 850-842-9188. Veteran owned and operated.
Download the ESPN Northwest Florida app. Powered by Pepsi. WGSX Lynn Haven, Panama City. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Have you ever thought about flying an airplane? It's not as difficult as you may think. Simply call Island Air Express. They are a family-oriented flight school who cares about the student pilot progression and more of a one-on-one flight training school. Island Air Express can help you celebrate your birthday by taking you on a birthday flight. Let Island Air Express show you the world from a different view by taking you and your family across beautiful Panama City Beach. Call Island Air Express at 850-814-6407 or visit their website at islandairexpress.com.
Damsel in Defense presents Defend Your Stance. Got an opinion? Time to defend it. It's the Afternoon Underdogs. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Welcome back into the Afternoon Underdogs. Georgia at Auburn, 1:30 pregame, 2:30 kickoff. What a game that is going to be, and you can listen to that right here on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. We were talking about the Panthers pretty heavily in that first hour. This is the second hour of the Afternoon Underdogs. The Patriots trading cornerback Stephon Gilmore to the Carolina Panthers for a 2023 sixth-round pick.
I just want to point out,
yeah, go ahead,
that the most respected coach and GM in all of professional football had made a decision to release him, not just trade him, but to just release him. That's how much he thought of him.
They were trying to work out a deal, and it wasn't going to work out.
They released him.
All right, and so now I'm with you.
They just released him.
There's still some value there. I'm telling you, there's some value there.
They're saying he's
okay.
done.
Maybe they are saying that, but they've been wrong on some other players before. They let Tom Brady walk, didn't they?
That was a bad mistake.
Oh, so you're going to be coming back in about week 13, and you're going to say that was a bad mistake. Maybe the Patriots.
I will say that. I ain't scared, but I'm telling you, he's not going to help them that much.
Matt Nagy's committing to Justin Fields as being the starter for the Bears going forward. David Montgomery, the running back there, is going to be missing 4 to 5 weeks with a sprained knee. In college football, LSU cornerback Derek Stingley Jr. is going to be out indefinitely after having procedure on an injured foot. JT Daniels, Kirby Smart saying that he has to rest and recover, so he's holding the quarterback out of throwing drills. I wonder what that's going to mean. Is it going to be Stetson Bennett, or is it going to be JT Daniels in an injured capacity going up against the Auburn Tigers? Old school. Can the Dogs rely on Stetson Bennett for this game?
I don't think they want to, but they can. I think their running game is strong enough that, it's you don't have to be a 5-star to turn around and hand the ball off. And I think, I think that the Dogs' running game is so strong. Their offensive line is a strength with the size, the speed, the ability to get up onto the linebackers, get to the second level, get onto the linebackers, and then you let Zeus and that whole committee of running backs that Georgia has do their thing. You shorten the game, you keep the Bo Nix and the Auburn offense off the field. I don't think they're scared, not with the defense that they have, and they'll play conservative, and they will run the ball down Auburn's neck.
That's going to be a good game, big game for the SEC. Another one.
One of the oldest rivalries in the South. In Georgia, this is as big, if not bigger, than the Georgia Tech game when Georgia plays Auburn.
Yankees manager Aaron Boone is at peace with his future up in the air as the Yankees season ended last night. What do you think the future holds for Aaron Boone? Really just focus on, will he be with the Yankees next year?
I don't think that he will. I think that I'm not saying he's not a good manager, because I do think he's a decent manager. I think he will get another opportunity with a different team, but I think that the disappointment of the Yankees seasons, particularly the last 2 or 3, I just think that the ownership is going to look for somebody that creates a splash, and they're going to make a change.
All right. Let's do 4 questions for college football. Let's talk a little college football right here. We've got a big game coming up between Penn State and Iowa football here. Both teams in the top 5. Penn State is it Iowa at 3 or Penn State at 3? Regardless, Iowa, Penn State, both of them are 3 or 4. Can't remember exactly right now. They're playing this Saturday, and then Penn State's got to take on Ohio State on October 30th. So these are questions for the month of October, which really tends to be a beast, especially to the contenders of the college football world. Is this the year for Penn State to make the college football playoff, Old School?
It's an opportunity. Now, whether or not Penn State has the horses to be able to step through when the door opens, we will have to see. I like their coach. I think Franklin does a good job. But I just don't know that they really have the horses. But, this is an opportunity. And when opportunity presents itself, then good teams rise. And I'm not ready to say that they're going to do that. But I think that they, at least the opportunity is there for them. And in the past, as we all know, that the Big Ten has gone through Columbus, Ohio, and it may again this year. But at least we're talking about a couple of teams from the Big Ten.
Right. I mean, there's a lot of teams, or quite a few teams in the Big Ten. You still got Michigan State as an outlier. Michigan's undefeated as well. They stay undefeated all the way through, and they get to that game against Ohio State. Who knows what ramifications will be held on that day? But the problem here is that the Nittany Lions have lost 5 consecutive regular season games to teams that are ranked in the top 15, and you've got to break that streak starting this Saturday. You can forget about getting into the college football playoff with the loss to Iowa, because if you lose to Iowa, you're not necessarily going to lose to Ohio State, but Ohio State is getting the ball rolling. That loss to Oregon really kicked them in the tail and kicked them into overdrive. So we'll see how it plays out. I'm not big on Penn State getting over what they've had happen in the past. I think that it kind of continues with James Franklin. You would like to see more for Penn State, but Ohio State's getting it going again.
Yeah, I mean, Ohio State has they have the recruiting, they have the 5 stars, they have the superstars athletes. The question mark for Ohio State is the quarterback. And anytime that you're starting, in most cases when you're starting a rookie or a freshman quarterback, you're in trouble. And I think Ohio State, this is what I was talking about, opportunities present themselves. For the last few years with Justin Field at the reins of the Ohio State, we all knew, that they were going to be coming out of the Big Ten. Even if they only played 6 games, they're going to come out. But now there's opportunities here for some teams that have been banging on the door, and now it's okay. Have you got it? Do you have the ability to step through when the opportunity presents itself? We're going to see if they do. Iowa has had a tendency to play good in some games and then lose to Northwestern. But we'll just have to see. I love Iowa. I have a lot of friends in Iowa. And, the tradition of waving to the kids at the hospital is fantastic. I mean, it's just one of the greatest things in all of sports. But we'll have to see. What I am concerned about is, do they have the superstar leader? Do either one of these teams have the superstar guy that can put their team on his back and go win? Do they have a Joe Burrow? Do they have a Fields? Do they have whoever, Spencer Rattler, whoever?
Spencer Rattler's not a guy that's putting the team on his shoulders.
But,
if the defense did a little more,
those type of guys that are, they're elite level.
Yeah.
And I don't know that they have that. Either team.
That's a really good point. It really is. Michigan State, Bruce, says not so fast. Penn State will not get out of Iowa undefeated. And also, the Big Ten has gone through East Lansing before. And I remember last time that it happened where they played. No, it wasn't a couple of decades ago. It was when they made it into the college football playoff and they lost to Alabama 38-0, 31-0. No, they didn't score.
I didn't think they did.
But it could still happen again, and hopefully they bounce back. I mean, you're big on their coach.
I like their coach. I really do. And I think that Michigan State, I've always liked Michigan State. I mean, it's a cool school.
That's not a surprise, old school. You got a team. You got at least 1 or 2 teams in every city and state.
No, you don't. There's nothing wrong with liking teams. You don't mean that you're a diehard fan for them, but I like them. I just want them to have the same level of success that they have in basketball. And Michigan State, why can't they break through and get it done? They made it to the CFP one time, and they embarrassed themselves. But at this point, I just want to see somebody new. I want to see somebody come through, take down Ohio State, and get to the college football playoff.
That's a good point. Who's going to be the playoff party crasher this year? You really got 3 teams there. One of them's in the top 5, will be in the top 4 as of next week. As long as they win their game, Iowa or Penn State will drop at least a few spots, depending on how close that game is, but I can't see a loss, and you stay in the top 4 there. You also have Coastal Carolina, who, everyone's going to make the excuse of the schedule and all that stuff, but they've looked really dominant in their wins to this year, except for the game against Buffalo where they eked that one out. But Buffalo not too shabby of a team, talking about a group of 5 school there. And then also number 10, BYU. Out of these schools, old school, who's going to be the playoff party crasher?
Cincinnati. I think Cincinnati is, we were just talking about how when opportunities present themselves, you're able to step through. And Cincinnati did that. You know, they scheduled Notre Dame at home, and they knew that that game was going to be an opportunity for them to make a statement. And now the opportunity has presented itself to Iowa and to Penn State. Which one of these two can step through and make themselves a legitimate contender to be in the CFP? Other than that, I think Cincinnati. Coastal Carolina, it's a neat story. You know, I'm happy for the Coastal Carolina teams and fans. I'm happy for them. It's a really cool story. But they're not going to get there. Brigham Young, good for the Big 12. They got somebody that's pretty good coming.
And they've beaten 3 Pac-12 teams already this year and have a chance to beat a 4th here coming up in the month of October. Before we get Sam Peebles on the line here to talk Braves Brewers and find out his thoughts on the game last night and the game tonight, Keith Stroud texts in. He says, sometimes a good team without a superstar can get it done. Who was the superstar on the Oklahoma team that beat FSU for the title? Old school might know one, but I don't. So was there a team on that Oklahoma squad?
Holloway, way back. Yeah, the guy that's the coach at Tennessee right now, Josh Heupel.
Heupel?
Yeah.
Was he a star?
Yeah, he was in contention to win a Heisman.
Okay, I would consider that a star.
I think he was the quarterback of that team.
I'll have to look into that. We'll see about that. Let's get into some Atlanta Braves talk coming up. So excited. It's always a good time to talk to Sam. But also Utah at USC following the Auburn and Georgia game this weekend at 6:30. That game, that's going to be a big one. And then you can't forget about the Bills and the Chiefs. Talk about some offense. Talk about a good game. The Bills and the Chiefs Sunday Night Football right here on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. Still looking for 2 contestants to play Beat the Underdogs. 850-215-6290.
With the forecast of a night, flash flood watch remains in effect. More rain and thunderstorm activity roaming around, causing some flooding. 70 to 75 for the low, southeast wind 5 to 10. Stalled out weather front will give us more showers and thunderstorms Thursday and Friday, partly to mostly cloudy. I think we'll see a little bit more sunshine on Friday, and the high temperature Thursday and Friday in the low 80s or so. We'll keep you updated. For 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida, I'm meteorologist Tim Root.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Braves baseball is on, and it's the Braves square off with the Milwaukee Brewers Friday. It's game 1 of the Braves and Brewers in the National League Division Series. Braves radio goes on the air at 2:20 Central.
Sponsored locally by Hydraulic Solutions, Mid-South Lumber, Stormore Portable Buildings, Little Bird Kia, LS Agency Insurance, Reliable Copy Products, and 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Small business owners of Bay County, are you aware of the recent changes in the credit card industry that could affect how much you pay for credit card processing? With over 30 years experience right here in Bay County, Merchant Management Group is ready to help your business take advantage of these changes and in some cases eliminate all fees for accepting credit card. Other businesses have already made the change. Call Merchant Management Group today to schedule a no obligation appointment. 850-747-0664.
Kings by Blood Cleaners is your go-to for the cleaning of your office, home, or condo. Ready to remodel? Let Kings by Blood Cleaners do the demo work for you. Clean up or clean out commercial, foreclosure of homes, apartment complexes, and commercial buildings. Contact Kings by Blood Cleaners for a local, no-obligation free estimate. Kings by Blood Cleaners offers 7 days a week service so that it's convenient for you. They do things the way your grandmammy used to do it. Call Kings by Blood Cleaners, 850-704-8470.
Are you ready for the best pizza in Bay County? It's Paparazzi Gourmet Deli, with over 100 years of recipes passed down through 4 generations. Paparazzi Gourmet specializes in New York and authentic Italian-American specialties from the deli, prepared foods, and of course, pizza. They even cater for all occasions. Click paparazzigourmetdeli.com to check out their daily specials. Come taste the difference at Paparazzi Gourmet Deli, Thomas Drive next to Goodwill on Panama City Beach. Call 850-588-8244 for fast pickup and DoorDash.
When you want a big-time sports show, tune in for the Afternoon Underdogs.
I'm going to send you up against the best.
Weekdays from 4 till 6.
Negative, Ghost Rider.
Live from the Slim Chicken Studio.
The need for speed.
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Welcome back. You're listening to The Underdogs, riding through the storm. Let's get to Sam Peebles, but before that, the Grand Slam of Cash. You got to be listening every day, 8:45 a.m., 12:45 p.m., 4:45 p.m. Just make it 24/7. Get the code word when you're listening. Take it to that website, espnpc.com, or on the ESPN Northwest Florida app. Enter the code word. That's your chance to win $1,000 cash. Sam Peebles visiting us from the Braves Dugout podcast. Also a contributor for Tomahawk Take and Sports Talk ATL. What's going on, Sam?
Hey, how's it going?
Man, ready for some baseball tonight. Give us your quick thoughts on the game from last night and what's going to happen in the National League wildcard game tonight.
Well, last night was pretty crazy because, to be honest with you, I would have picked the Yankees just based on the matchup. You know, Garrett Cole being Garrett Cole. Nathan Eovaldi, he had a 3.75 ERA going into it, and the Red Sox didn't have J.D. Martinez to help him out, you know, offensively. So I was like, man, if I was betting, I would have bet on the Yankees. But, man, Eovaldi came out there, and looking at his numbers, I see why the Red Sox went with him. I mean, 3.75 is decent, but it definitely doesn't tell the whole story. Over the past 50 plate appearances, he was in the top 20% of weighted on-base average against. He was in the top 23% of expected ERA. The guy has been pitching lights out the past few weeks, or months rather, really, and I can see why they went with him, and he absolutely dominated that Yankees lineup. The one thing that was really interesting, though, that it wouldn't have really mattered, but the Giancarlo Stanton had 2 different singles that he hit so hard and so far. His single in the, I believe it was the first or third inning, he hit it so hard and so far that in 12 different ballparks that would have been a home run, and it ended up being a single. And then he had another single that was hit so hard and so far that it would have been a home run in 2 baseball parks. Joey Gallo in the 9th inning, he hit a ball so far that it would have been a home run in 25 other ballparks. So you had 3 different hits in the game that could have ended up resulting in the Yankees scoring 5 runs instead of the 2 that they scored, and it would have prolonged the innings even longer, you know, not giving up those outs. So the Red Sox did get a little lucky there, but they clearly won that game, and it was, to be honest, good for baseball, I think.
I agree with you. Anytime the Yankees go down, it's good for baseball, especially when a guy gets a $324 million contract in his first and in his biggest start as a Yankee, goes 2 innings. We've got a question from one of your listeners, Debbie. She says, could you please ask Sam if he agrees with starting Morton in Game 1, or should they go with Fried?
I would say yes. I would go. I'm fine with either or, and here's why. The Brewers are terrible against the curveball. They are, as far as batting average against the curveball, they're 29th in Major League Baseball as far as average. As far as weighted on base percentage against, they're 25th in the league and 25th in slugging percentage. And Charlie Morton throws the curveball 37% of the time, and the league average is something like 29% of the time. And when Morton faced the Brewers last time, he gave up only 2 runs in 6 innings. So Max Fried does pitch to the curveball 47% of the time, and the Brewers have never faced, or they did not face Max Fried this year with the lineup that they currently have. So I want to say that it's kind of a coin flip anyways. I probably would start Max Fried, but Charlie Morton has just been there's something to be said about having composure in high-leverage situations. Max Fried has that, but Charlie Morton's been doing it longer. And so if it's a coin flip, sure, let's go with Charlie Morton here. But it really, truly is a coin flip between those two against the Brewers.
Well, Sam, one of the things that I have found interesting in listening to the ball games on the radio is the fact that they have really talked about in this stretch of Fried being so good with the, 11 straight quality starts, was that they felt like he was really able to spot his fastball, that he was really working off of his fastball rather than relying so heavily on the curve. So when you're talking about that, is that something that we need to be concerned about, that the Brewers can go up there looking for the fastball and attack it almost, the tomahawk type, go up there and the first time they see a fastball, they jump on it? Is that something we need to be concerned about when Fried gets on the mounds at some point during the series?
I would say it would actually have the opposite effect. I would say if he's able to locate his fastball more, then that would make his curveball that much more effective, because now he's got a second pitch that's just as effective. And so if he doesn't have to rely on the curveball, they'll go up there maybe looking for a fastball, and then he drops a curveball in there. So I think whenever you're able to get another quality pitch in there, even if the team is terrible at your other one, I think it really just makes law of probabilities the curveball just that much more effective.
You're listening to 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. We're talking to Sam Peebles, the creator and host of the Braves Dugout podcast. Listen to this podcast if you're a Braves fan. I know you've done a lot of research and studying into this series with the Brewers. Sam, who's got the advantage in this series offensively?
Offensively, definitely the Braves. So if you look at weighted runs created plus, which, as we know, your job as a hitter is to create runs. And runs created plus is adjusted across the entire league. That means versus it factors in ballparks, it factors in your competition and things like that. The Brewers, even with the amount of runs that they've put up, they're sixth in the National League, which is right around middle of the pack. They're actually 23rd in all of Major League Baseball. So there's 22 teams that have had better quality hitting than the Brewers. And if you look at the runs, one thing that a lot of people have been doing is they've been looking at the Brewers' whole season versus the Braves' whole season. That's just not accurate. The Braves have improved at the trade deadline. They've trimmed the fat on which relievers they need, and the Brewers have done the same thing. So it's really important to kind of look at more like the second half after they've made those giant adjustments. And the Braves have scored the Brewers have scored 4.91 runs a game in the second half, but the Braves have scored 5.14. So it's really close, but the Braves are scoring more runs against better pitching. And also on that same front, the Brewers, who do have excellent pitching, have actually been giving up more runs per game than the Braves have in the second half. The Braves cut down the amount of runs they're giving up per game by quite a bit. If you look at their whole season, the Braves gave up 4.07 runs a game. In the second half, they only gave up 3.54. The Brewers have been giving up 3.81. So if you look at runs scored, you look at runs against, you look at run differential, from a very high-level view, the Braves have the slight edge there.
Sam, can you give us a little bit of an evaluation on the Brewers lineup? The Braves have, Soler has gotten, just so hot in the leadoff position, and then you got Freddie and
Pearl Necklace Jock.
Of course. But, what about the Brewers? What do you see in their lineup that is going to give the Braves a little bit of pause?
Yeah, to be honest with you, it's really amazing that the offense has done what they have, because on paper I look at them and I'm like, how are they doing so well with this offense? Willy Adames came over and he's been fantastic. He's the one guy I would worry about. But even so, Willy Adames would be the fifth best hitter on the Braves. So I don't know. If the Braves can just score runs, plenty of runs fast and early in the game, they've got an advantage. I think the Brewers should not be taken lightly. I think every win that they had was earned. But one thing that makes me think, we can look at all these stats. The Braves dominated the Brewers offensively, even though it was split 3-3. The Braves' batting average is better against the Brewers. Their on-base percentage is better than the Brewers. Their slugging percentage is better against the Brewers than the Brewers are against the Braves. They gave up less runs. They scored more runs. The Braves have been better than the Brewers. And you guys know me, I'm not biased. I do my best to try to tell the truth, and a lot of people get so stuck on how good the Brewers' pitching is, and it has been good, but they're discounting the Braves. The Braves, over the past stretch, over the second half of the season, have been a better team. And another thing that I really like to look at is how have teams performed against other good teams. Over the last 11 games, the Brewers are 1-10 against teams with a winning record.
Wow. Well, Sam, I have an analytical question for you, and I apologize in advance that I didn't get this to you because this might take some research. But how do the Braves do in cold weather environments?
They're from Georgia, so they don't play very many cold weather environment games.
Well, we saw last night.
That's a good question.
We saw last night with the Boston, and it was chilly up there, and so Milwaukee, that's pretty far north in my geography. I just worry a little bit about how the Braves will react to the colder temperatures.
I would imagine scientifically that the ball travels a little bit further in cold weather, right? So the Braves hit a lot of home runs, so it might be to their advantage if the players don't get too cold and shiver too much.
Well, I remember when we were in Coors Field one time, and the pitchers had a hard time because the air was so dry that they had a hard time, getting their grip. It was Tehran, I think, but
that's correct.
I just think it's really going to be interesting to see. Defensively, both teams are pretty good, but I just really like, from a position standpoint, our infield over their infield.
Well, the weather for Milwaukee at 6 p.m., which the game. Well, actually, the game's at 3:37. So at 3, we're looking at about 71, maybe some rain.
Oh,
so
good.
A low of 60. So I don't think that'll be
cold.
too much of a factor. Sam, give me the keys to success for each team.
Okay, so the Braves, they need to get to the Brewers starters. They need to score early and often because Josh Hader, they might do fine against the 6th through 8th innings, but Josh Hader has had arguably the best season as a closer I've ever seen. Now, he doesn't have the saves numbers, but that's because the Brewers did not play very many one-run games. Their starters kept them in a place to where they didn't have to use their closer as often as, say, the Braves did. But the Brewers, on the other hand, their goal is to extend the starters of the Braves as much as they can with long counts and get to the bullpen as fast as they can. Now, the Braves' bullpen is not terrible, but it's not as good as the Brewers. So the Brewers need to get to the Braves' bullpen. The Braves need to score as soon and as quick as they can.
I love that.
It's going to be a great matchup.
Oh, it really is.
This is a very, very close matchup. Very close matchup.
I'm fired up for this series, and I believe when I was on your podcast, this was kind of the matchup that we were talking about. If we could get to the divisional series and kind of stay out of the West and get one of the NL Central teams, it would be better for us than getting just into a wild card game and potentially going up against the Dodgers like the Cardinals are tonight. Sam, one more question here from Wright State Chris. He wants to know, and this doesn't pertain to the Braves, but is Tim Anderson, the shortstop for the White Sox, where did the question go now? Can Tim Anderson become a national name if he produces in the playoffs?
It's hard to say because the way things go with the White Sox, they have so many young stars that so many people are focused on Luis Robert, Eloy Jimenez. Tim Anderson has been the rock for the White Sox for years. So I really don't think that anything he can really do can make him like a household name. I mean, just think of guys like Brandon Crawford for the Giants that have been the shortstop for them for years. He's been the foundation for that team, but even in a big market team, you don't really hear the name Brandon Crawford that often. So Tim Anderson, very underrated player, but he doesn't have that flashy power numbers that the media loves seeing. I, for one, think Tim Anderson is a great player, and I give him credit, but I don't foresee, unless he hits like a Game 7 Grand Slam to win it all or something, I just don't foresee that happening.
Whenever Wright State Chris asked that question, I was like, I don't know exactly about the parameters of how the media is going to feel about him in a national name, but I can tell you one thing. Sam loves Tim Anderson and a plethora of those White Sox players. You know, we expected them to have a big year, and they did this year.
Yeah, they did. I'm a fan. My dream matchup is the White Sox versus the Braves in the World Series. I'm not predicting that, but that's my dream matchup.
You know, that would be so cool because my late grandmother, she passed away, but her favorite team was the White Sox. And then when we moved to Tampa as our family and she would come down and visit, she started really keeping up with the Rays. So if we could get the Rays and the White Sox in the American League Championship and then get the White Sox or the Rays, either one, to take on the Braves, that would be a dream matchup for me as well. Sam, thank you so much for giving us some of your times. Everybody go check out the Braves Dugout podcast. He's also got content on Tomahawk Take and Sports Talk ATL. Hey, Sam, go Braves!
Hey, go Braves. Thanks, guys.
No doubt about it. And ESPN Northwest Florida, 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida, is your home for the NFL. And we've got the Denver Broncos and the Pittsburgh Steelers on our air, sponsored locally by Certified Gearhead and Motorsports, home of the $30 synthetic oil change. We're going to be right back. Winners and losers from Week 4 in the NFL, and a little college football to go along with it. Stick with us right here on the Afternoon Underdogs.
ESPN Northwest Florida. The Coach James Hale Show, weekday mornings from 7 till 9.
Florida State. And I look at the schedule. They're improving every week, but you got North Carolina this week. Then you got Clemson down the road. Miami's got athletes. They seem to be their worst own enemies. So it's not like it's going to get any easier. At the end of the year, you got the Florida Gators. So
if we can continue to improve Florida State, you could see them come out of this okay. You have a lot more hope than we had at the beginning of the year.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
You wake up late, rush through your shower, run out to the car, and the garage door won't open. Oh! Don't let this be you. Get your garage door service today. At All About Garage Doors, we offer 24/7 service at no extra charge. Call us today for our single torsion spring replacement for $199 or our double torsion spring replacement for $299, both with a 2-year parts and labor warranty. Call All About Garage Doors, 850-842-9188. Veteran owned and operated.
Hi, I'm Bobby Likas with today's Car Clinic Minute. When you think fresh air, do you picture Himalayan mountains, Tahitian beaches, or Japanese oxygen bars? How about closer to home? Say, your garage. Yep, when I come back, I'll help you breathe easier.
The Car Clinic Minute.
It's Bobby Likas Car Clinic, brought to you locally by Hewitt Tire and Auto.
Call 850-769-7323.
Your certified AAA service center and hometown towing.
Visit them online at HewittTire.com.
On Airport Road in Panama City.
That's 850-769-7323. Hewitt Tire and Auto Center and hometown towing.
Need a breath of fresh air? No need to fly to exotic places. Just hop in your car. How's that, since air inside your car's 10 times more polluted than air outside? Passenger cabin air filters. Like those in your home, these filters screen out pollen, dust, and exhaust. Many cars, like Taurus, Windstar, and Monte Carlo, already have air filters. If yours does, include an air filter change by a qualified technician with your annual automotive checkup. Almost like being in Tahiti. I'm Bobby Likas. Like us, you'll love us.
The next evolution in sports talk radio. It's the Afternoon Underdogs. Inside the Slim Chicken studio.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Make it so. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
And we're back. Let's play some Beat the Underdogs. 850-215-6290. No, got a caller here waiting. We'll get them on in a minute. Make sure that you're tuned in tomorrow, 7 in the morning. It's Thursday. It's going to be a big day. You're going to have Jeremy Pridgeon in the house. I believe Cody Shields in the house and Tommy Santamont in the morning with Coach James Hell. Tune into the Coach James Hell Show for the best college football show in the area. We're a close second, but I'll give the edge to Coach Hale because he Roll Tide. Roll Tide. It's unbelievable. It's absolutely incredible. Now, old school, let's get into our winners and our losers from week 4. You're doing college football, and I'm going to keep it focused on NFL. So let's start with the college football, and who are your winners and losers from week 5 in college football?
Do you want me to go 1 to 5 or 5 to 1?
I want you to go however you feel like going. If you really like your number 1, then save it and go from 5 to 1.
Okay, I'm going to go from 5 to 1. I'm going to start out with my favorite team, the University of Texas. They had lost, out of the last 9 games against TCU, they had lost 7 of those. They had to go on the road. They went to TCU, and they got a big victory. It wasn't exactly beautiful, but they got a win. Number 4 was the Cincinnati Bearcats. The big-time win for them to go to South Bend. That was quite impressive for them to dominate the first half the way they did, and then to hang on for the victory. Number 3 is Iowa. It was a big win for Iowa. Now they're set up to take on Penn State, really make a mark there, opportunity to step through the door, as we talked about before. Number 2 for me was Auburn. Big-time win on the road in Death Valley. Bo Nix answered a lot of questions. They really played their hearts out in the second half and came away with a big, big victory. My number 1 is the Michigan Wolverines. We've been waiting for so long for Harbaugh to do something, and what he's found is a running game that he leans on. And a quarterback that can make a throw if he, when he needs to. So they were a big winner this past weekend. They were my number 1 choice.
I love those takes. Let's get to the phone line where we've got G-Man, Greg Calvert, on the line with us. What's going on with you, Greg?
Hey, how's it going, everybody?
Good to hear your voice, brother.
Yeah, it's good to be heard. I'm starting to get a little bit of a life back, and I'm actually in a hotel watching it on Blab TV, your show, and I saw that it was just old school with you, David. So I knew you needed help. That's why.
Well, perfect time, and the Afternoon Underdog is here on the phone with us to take care of us. What do you got for us today, Greg?
I've been so busy. The sports world. I'm looking forward to watching baseball tonight. I know you probably never thought you'd hear me say that.
I know, right?
Yeah, but I am definitely looking forward to that. It's just it's been a really good NFL year. I think it's been a really good college football year. I mean, just a lot of good games everywhere. And I just waved back to you, by the way. It's delayed on TV.
What'd you say?
What's delayed on TV?
The broadcast. I just now saw your wave.
Oh, okay.
I'm over here mouthing what I want to ask you next. At Old School, we're trying to communicate silently.
So you're a Big Ten guy.
Next. What's that?
You're a big-time Big Ten guy. Being from the hotbed of high school basketball, Indiana. And now, I want to get your take on this Iowa Penn State game. Who do you think is going to come out the big victory in that?
Where is it at again? I forget.
I think it's in Iowa.
I think
it's in Iowa. Yep.
With those two teams, home field advantage might play
a big role.
Turn out to be significant. And be the difference. 3 points, maybe? I don't know. I mean, I've watched a little bit of both of them. And Iowa, when I watch Iowa, they look tougher to me than Penn State has. What are they ranked? What are they? They're both ranked up there in the top 10, right?
Yeah, 3 and 4.
Oh, wow.
Yep, you got Iowa at number 3, Penn State at number 4. So let's talk about your Colts for a second.
Penn State?
No, go ahead. It's in Iowa. They'll be doing the wave.
Man, I'll tell you what. Them corn eaters, those corn chuckers out there, they they're going to be there rooting that team on. That's for sure.
Well, let's talk about your pro team. Monday Night Football, big dance with the Ravens coming up. This is a big game for the Colts to not go 1-4 and get back to 2-3. Do you think that they can slow down Lamar Jackson and make that happen?
Last weekend gave us just a little bit of hope. They have not been. Everybody keeps harping on Carson Wentz, but Carson Wentz has looked fine. The problem is the Colts' offensive line has let them down, and the defense has let them down. Carson Wentz has not been a problem, So last week they looked like they were bringing it together on both sides of the ball a little bit. They weren't where they need to be. Hopefully they can make that jump this week with some adjustments and be ready for Baltimore. I mean, because this is a big game, the Colts versus the Ravens. I mean, that's those the Baltimore people. They're mad because we have that Colts name. So
there you go.
And
good storyline for the game.
Baltimore people are mad because or Indianapolis people are mad because they originally left and went and became the Ravens.
What?
All right, so Greg, to your point, I agree with you. I think Carson Wentz has done a very serviceable job this year.
Yeah, and that's a good term. I don't came up with that term, but that's a very good term for it. I agree with you.
Oh yeah, man, that is going to be a big game this weekend. What do you think has been the bigger move, in your opinion? And you said you haven't been keeping up with a lot of stuff, but the Panthers got Stephon Gilmore today, and the Packers got Jalen Smith. The Cowboys released him yesterday. The Packers signed him today. Which team benefited more, the Panthers or the Packers?
I tell you what, that Panthers defense is already pretty good. You add Gilmore to that, they get with Gilmore added to that defense, and they get McCaffrey back. Hubbard has been fine, as Hubbard's shown that he can play as a backup too, or he can play as a starter. I mean,
Old School said, "What does he know?" We've been arguing about this all day. Me and Old School have he says that the Saints are better than the Panthers.
The Saints?
That's what he says, that the Saints are better than the Panthers. Do you believe that?
Not so far this year, but there's a lot of football left to be played.
A lot of football left to be played. Hey, Greg, we're up against a break. You got anything else for us?
No, just everybody have a good evening, and I'll talk to you all later. I'll probably call you sometime, Old School.
All right, brother. Look forward to hearing from you.
Great stuff. Thank you, as always, G-Man, and all of our listeners. More big games coming up on our network. One that's not necessarily here in the South, but Utah USC following the Georgia-Auburn game. That's going to be a big one for the West over there. Get a little Pac-12 football in your system. Hopefully Utah can take down USC, but I'll stay in the middle, stay neutral. You're listening to the Afternoon Underdogs. We're going to be back with the final segment of the day. I will give you my 5 winners and losers from Week 4 of the NFL world.
With the forecast of a night, flash flood watch remains in effect. More rain and thunderstorm activity roaming around, causing some flooding. 70 to 75 for the low, southeast wind 5 to 10. Stalled out weather front will give us more showers and thunderstorms Thursday and Friday. Partly to mostly cloudy. I think we'll see a little bit more sunshine on Friday, and the high temperature Thursday and Friday in the low 80s or so. We'll keep you updated. For 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida, I'm meteorologist Tim Root.
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida is your chance to win cold hard cash.
Hi, this is Ernie Mello from Lynn Haven, Florida. I just won $1,000.
2 ways to win this national contest. Listen weekdays at 8:45, 12:45, and 4:45 for a new code word. You hear it. Enter the code word at ESPNPC.com or use the new ESPN Northwest Florida app to play. The Grand Slam.
Home of the official 68-degree chill. None other than the official Vortex Spring. The hottest summer days can't stand up to the everyday. Can't change it. Constant 68 degrees of gin clear water. every single day at Vortex Spring in Ponce de Leon. Come for a day or come for a weekend. Camping, nature trails, diving, swimming, snorkeling, something for the whole family. Discount for first responders, active duty, and retired military. Online at vortexspring.com.
Have you ever thought about flying an airplane? It's not as difficult as you may think. Simply call Island Air Express. They are a family-oriented flight school who cares about the student pilot progression and more of a one-on-one flight training school. Island Air Express can help you celebrate your birthday by taking you on a birthday flight. Let Island Air Express show you the world from a different view by taking you and your family across beautiful Panama City Beach. Call Island Air Express at 850-814-6407 or visit their website at islandairexpress.com.
Beef O'Brady's 2 for $20. Steak is back and desserts are in, like Beef's crispy funnel fries. Pick a starter or dessert to share, plus 2 entrees like USDA choice cut sirloin, all for $20. Beef O'Brady's, what'll you choose?
What's up? It's David Hayes from the Afternoon Underdogs and a big fan of Lynn Haven Beef O'Brady's. Call or order online to get their amazing food to go or stop by and dine in to enjoy their relaxing atmosphere. Beef O'Brady's, good food, good sports, and great friends of ESPN Northwest Florida.
Doing what other stations can't. The Afternoon Underdogs is live and local. Text or call into the Slim Chicken Studio, 850-215-6290.
Always be sure to listen for the dial tone.
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
And we are back on the Afternoon Underdog Show. Thank you so much for being with us today. We appreciate the phone calls. We appreciate all the texts. We love hearing from you. We're going to talk a little bit about fantasy football bust during this segment. Dave's on the phone right now, and one of the ones that I was really interested in is Jalen Hurts. I'd like to get people's opinion because Jalen Hurts has been putting up really impressive numbers, even in losing efforts, but yet he's putting up some big-time numbers. I don't think of him as a fantasy football bust. I think that he's doing pretty much what we thought we were going to get from him. On the other hand, Matt Ryan for the Atlanta Falcons, he's so seasoned. He's been around so long that, I just don't know. He's got a receiving core that is so talented, but yet they just haven't really exploded yet. Maybe it's because of the defenses that they're facing. I don't really know, but I would say at this point that Jalen Hurts is not a bust, that he's a winner, and that Matt Ryan has been a bit of a bust this year as a fantasy football guy. The other one that really jumps out at me is Baker Mayfield. What a team that he has assembled around him, and he's just not. Maybe it's just because their running game is so good, but he's just not putting up a lot of numbers from a fantasy standpoint. And frankly, just as an overall team, he's not really doing what he did last year. I would say that at this point, he's been a disappointment, even though they're winning, but I think that he's been a little bit of a disappointment. But what do you think, Dave? I went through Jalen Hurts. I went through Matt Ryan.
We're talking fantasy football buzz. All right, that's cool. I'll save my winners and losers for next week. We're running out a little bit of time. Just had a good call with someone off the air about stuff that we're going to be working on moving forward. So thank you for listening. It was actually someone who's been on the show with us before. So thank you for listening. Love all the listeners. 850-215-6290. We'll take any calls, any complaints. It doesn't matter. You bring them our way, and we're going to do our best to make things right. Now, when it comes down to these two quarterbacks, you're looking at these things from the football field and how it pertains to it on the football field, not from the fantasy football side, right?
Well, I did talk a little bit of fantasy.
Whoa, wow.
I am by no means an expert about it, not like you guys are, but I'm just saying, Jalen Hurts has been putting up numbers, and he's thrown for a number of receptions. He's thrown for just a tremendous amount of yardage. I don't know what more you could want for him. Maybe he doesn't throw for many touchdowns. Maybe that's what he's missing. But overall, I would say, in my limited knowledge, that Jalen Hurts has been a win. As
far as putting up fantasy numbers, yeah, when it comes to that, the problem here is that the Carolina Panthers defense has been holding quarterbacks to lower numbers than what we kind of expect. So that's kind of why he's borderline a bust or a boom this week. But to this point in the season, every time Jalen Hurts has stepped out on the field, he's brought you big numbers because now he's throwing the ball more. He's getting almost 400 yards in passing, 3 to 400 yards in passing a game. And he also has his legs that exercise very well. He's a very mobile quarterback. And I outside of that Dallas game, the happy feet hasn't been too much of a problem for him this year. When it comes to Matt Ryan against the Jets, how is that offensive line going to stand up to the defensive line of the Jets, who are a lot better than what you're shaking your head a little bit, but the Titans offensive line is garbage. There's no different way to put it. But Quentin Williams, his brother Quincy Williams, those guys are studs and can get to the quarterback. And if the offensive line for the Falcons is porous, I probably stay away from it because anytime you see the Jets or the Jaguars when it comes to fantasy football, you're like, ooh, can't wait to play this guy this week. He's going to put up buku numbers.
Well, I was saying to stay away from Matt Ryan.
And I agree with you. I would say Matt Ryan probably busts this week unless he tries to have a revenge game from last week not getting the job done in the fourth quarter against the football team. But I don't see it happening here. If I got to go out of these two guys, I'm going to go with Jalen Hurts. I think that he could boom this week for sure. Let's go to some running backs here. Najee Harris is taking on the Denver Broncos. Clyde Edwards-Helaire is going up against the Bills. And then we'll get to a wide receiver in Odell Beckham Jr. He's going up against the Chargers. So let's start with Najee Harris. Is he a boom or a bust for you this weekend, Old School?
I think he's a bust for this week. I think that, they just can't. The offensive line there is so porous that he's not going to be able to run anything. So all of his yardage is going to be in receiving. Quarterback that he has in Big Ben is struggling. So I would stay away from him for sure. He's going up against a good defense in the Broncos. Maybe they're not playing as well as what was expected, but overall, the Broncos are a good defense, and the Steelers' offense is just really struggling. So I would stay away from Najee.
And that's one of those questionable calls, Old School. You said it very well. The defense for the Broncos has been stopping running backs and wide receivers. Lamar Jackson got a good job, got a good deal of yards out of him. 300-yard passing game. But when it came to the running game, they didn't even break 100 yards as a team until the final play of the game. So you do have to watch that. However, it's different with the Steelers rushing attack and with Najee Harris in general than what the Ravens rushing attack is, which really is centralized and localized around Lamar Jackson. With Najee Harris, he's such an influential part of that Steelers team that it's kind of hard to leave him on your bench sometimes, depending on how your running back room is looking, just because the volume of either receptions or carries that he's going to get in a game, but it's tough against the Broncos. Then you look at the Buffalo Bills defense, and Clyde Edwards-Helaire is going up against them. We've got about a minute and a half here, Old School boom or bust for CEH.
I would stay away from him. This is nothing against him. This is more about the Buffalo Bills defense. I just think they are solid from front to back. They are good against the run. They're good against the pass. And I don't know. He may catch a bunch of passes, but I don't think it's going to be for a ton of yardage. Maybe one touchdown. So, I think there's better choices out there from a running back standpoint.
Odell Beckham Jr. is the last one that we'll get into today. Real quick, Old School boomer bust for OBJ going up against that Chargers defense.
Going deep, I say yes. I'd take him. I think that, it's time for Baker to stand up and do something. And he needs a breakthrough game, and he really needs to focus on Odell. Odell has the ability to get deep, and the Chargers have been showing a tendency to get beat deep with Asante Samuel.
What a show today. Thank you, Old School, for being with me. I'm David Hayes. This is the Afternoon Underdogs. We got a big weekend of games coming to you live this weekend. Don't forget about the Grand Slam of Cash, 8:45 a.m., 12:45 p.m., 4:45 p.m. Take the code word that you'll hear. Go to the website, ESPNPC.com, or the ESPN Northwest Florida app. Enter the code word for your chance to win $1,000 cash. Also on that app, you can play trivia. John Bone Crusher does a great job with that for your chance to win some awesome things. No Braves broadcast tonight. We've got Greeny at 6 p.m. And don't forget, tomorrow night is Tiger Talk at Toomer's Corner. That's going to be a great show. And also, Panama City Fairs here at the old Panama City Mall. You know, the parking lot over there. Y'all go check it out. It's going to be a great time. We'll see you tomorrow at 4. Coach James Hale live at you 7 in the morning.
Weather in the Panhandle never stops. Turn to 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida and staff meteorologist Tim Root for up-to-the-minute weather reports all day long.
Moving northwestward into the Gulf of Mexico by the weekend.
In-depth storm coverage.
Gusty winds up to 60 miles per hour.
And breaking weather as it happens.
We do have a tropical storm warning.
ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Hear that? That's the plumpest, juiciest hot dogs you've ever seen getting their grill on. But we both know what'll make it sound even better. Oh yeah, it's a Pepsi to go with your hot dog. Because when you're chomping on America's favorite meal, relish, mustard, and onions perfectly blending into a crescendo of flavor, there's only one thing that makes everything about that moment better. A cold, refreshing Pepsi. See what I mean? It's like music to my ears. Hot dogs. Better with Pepsi. That's what I like.
You know that sound anywhere. It's the crisp crunch of that first nacho chip. With its perfect cheese to sour cream ratio sitting atop a layer of delicious beans, it's a sip away from